It is hard to believe that it all started with a clogged toilet. We have been living in this house for 5 years and had no plumbing issue whatsoever. But all of a sudden, about 4 months ago, the toilet in my master's bedroom started clogging up. It became so bad that we started using the toilet in our children's bedroom. Hello, I am 35 years old and my wife is 34. We have 3 kids and my wife is a stay-at-home mom. My wife has been pressuring me to hire a plumber, but I kept denying it because I wanted to fix it myself. During the weekends, I have some experience with plumbing because I have done it in the past. One Saturday, I found time to buy a drain auger at Home Depot. I thought I fixed the problem, but after 2 days, the toilet started clogging up again. My wife got frustrated that she couldn't use the bathroom in our room and went off on me to get a plumber because she was tired of using our kids' bathroom. I decided to call a plumber that I normally use to service my 2 rental properties when I'm having plumbing issues. On the day the plumber came to my house, my wife was visiting her mom and staying over with the kids till the evening. So, I used that opportunity to get the plumber to come over and fix the clogging issue without interruptions. I was hoping to surprise her, so I didn't tell her the plumber was coming. Lately, I have been doing everything I can to make her happy because over the past few months, she had been really moody and short-tempered. We have a keyless entry door, so I let the plumber in remotely using my phone to unlock the door. He called me a few hours later, telling me that he found some clogging on my sewer pipe that was caused by condoms getting in intersections of the pipe or any snake or object that might be already in the pipe. I didn't believe him. See, he showed me some camera footage. I still had my doubts because the footage didn't seem that clear to me. It was not believable because I have never used a condom for a while. Not since my college days when I was fooling around with my no wife. After we had our 3rd child, I decided to get a vasectomy. When my wife returned home that day, it was already late, and I wanted to go to bed early because I had a presentation at work the following day. My wife brought some food for me and for the neighbors and his 2 kids. I thought it would cheer my wife up to talk about what the plumber found that was clogging our sewer. We had the same sense of humor, so I thought that she would laugh her ass off. However, when I told her the plumber found some condoms in the toilet, she didn't react as I would have expected. She tensed up a bit and her face was blushing, totally unexpected reaction. I am familiar with her mannerism, and I felt her reaction didn't seem appropriate. I have seen that reaction before, and I know my wife well enough to feel like something wasn't right. She immediately tried to change the topic. At first, I didn't know what to make of her reaction. I thought maybe this was one of her mood swings. She had been moody for the past 4 months, and I couldn't figure out why. I have been trying my best to do things to make her happy, and I feel like I have been walking on eggshells. My wife is a stay-at-home mom, and now that my 3 kids are in school, she was looking for something to do to keep her busy. I assumed that it must be part of the reason for her mood swings. I thought she had depression. Sure enough, she was diagnosed with depression. She was thinking about getting back into the workforce about a year ago because she was feeling depressed, and we thought it was because our kids were getting older and she was looking for something to keep her busy. 6 months later, she changed her mind. She did a complete 180 and changed her mind about joining the workforce. Coincidentally, around the periods when she changed her mind about joining the workforce, I noticed that our sex life started to taper off. She started acting different. She was doing a lot more chores around the house, changing the sheets often, less interactive. She was visiting her friends and family a lot less. The only time she leaves the house is to do shopping or go to the gym. She lost about 30 pounds during this period. Her wardrobe also changed significantly during this period. She started wearing lingerie, short shorts. On several occasions, she wouldn't wear underwear outside the house, especially when visiting the neighborhoods. It makes sense to me now what she was doing. Now I know she was seducing the neighbor, and that was when the affair started. But back then, I was clueless. After the plumbing incident, I didn't know what to make of her reaction, and I made a mental note to keep my eyes on her. When I started suspecting that she was up to something, that was when I started suspecting things that I would normally not suspect before. When we moved into my home 5 years ago, it was a brand new house in a new subdivision. A year later, my neighbor moved in. Let's call the neighbor Cody. Cody moved in with his soon-to-be ex-wife and 2 children, a 19-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl. Cody was 42 years old, so he is 7 years older than me, and we shared the same hobby, so we got along well. We hung out all the time, and me and my wife grew fond of Cody and his soon-to-be ex-wife and 2 children. He had a pool table, and I would go over to his house and smoke some cigars, drink, and we play pool together. About 2 months after Cody moved in, we soon realized that his marriage was in trouble, and his wife wanted to divorce. He tried to reconcile, and it turns out that his wife was already having an affair with someone at her job. Cody and his son and daughter took it really hard, because they felt like his wife abandoned them. Me and my wife would do the best we could to be there for them. Unbeknownst to me, my wife went too far to cheer them up. My wife started cooking more than we needed so she could share with Cody and his 2 children. His son also started attending the local community college, so he would come back and spend hours at my house tutoring my kids. He seemed like a nice kid, so we became really close, almost like they lost their wife and mother and gained me, my wife, and our 3 kids. After Cody's wife moved out from his house and moved in with the other man, that was when my wife began to change, and I blamed myself for not suspecting anything because it was obvious in hindsight. One time, we were planning on visiting Cody's house. My wife went to his house wearing a shorter than usual skirt, and I noticed that she wasn't wearing anything underneath it. When I noticed it, I wanted to say something about it, and it slipped my mind. When we went back home, I remembered and asked her why. She was dismissive, saying that she forgot. I will never forget that day because her response didn't seem right to me. I didn't suspect anything was going on with her and Cody because I was with Cody the entire time. I should also state that it was her idea to be cooking extra for them occasionally. I thought it was supposed to be a temporary thing, but my wife continued to do it until the day. Another reason why I didn't suspect anything was because Cody worked at least 12 hours every day and was out of his house for at least 15 hours a day. He leaves for work the same time as me and comes back 2 hours after me. The only time we see each other is during the evening when we are on our porch drinking, and on Saturdays and Sundays. Now, back to the day the plumber unclogged condoms that were blocking my drain pipe. and my wife reacted strangely. I remember having a dream some days later that my wife was having an affair. I don't remember who she was having an affair with, but when I woke up, all I remember was that she was having an affair in my dream. After our third child was born, she became a stay-at-home mom, although she had a little online gig here and there to make some cash. I was the primary breadwinner. I have never bothered myself with what she was doing when she is alone at home, and my kids are in school. But it all changed after the condom incidents and the dream. It was like the universe was drawing my attention to do something. My mind keeps going through a list of people she might be having an affair with, maybe in her yoga class or her gym class. She then used to be a gym person. Now she goes all the time. But I couldn't figure out who her affair partner was. I followed her to the gym, and I didn't suspect anyone. Cody doesn't have time to go to the gym or do anything else but work. Sometimes she goes to the gym with Cody's 19-year-old son and 16-year-old daughter, so I figured she wouldn't have an affair or meet anyone when she is with them. My mindset at the time was that the condom was thrown in my toilet, so she must be inviting the person into my bedroom. The thought of that just made me sick to my stomach, so much that I tried to dismiss it back then. I should have installed a camera in my bedroom or my house, but it never occurred to me till later. 2 days after the condom incident, I noticed that me and my wife were growing distant. Every week, we would go a week without having sex, and when I tried to initiate, she would say that she was tired. Tired of what? Being home all day? Then she started blaming me for gaining too much weight. She wanted me to start working out and get in shape so I can become more attractive. She complained that I should stop drinking and start working out. I took her words seriously because I was desperately looking for a solution to fix our relationship. I thought maybe the reason why we were growing distant is because she was working out and losing weight, and I'm going the opposite direction. When I looked at myself in the mirror, I felt like she was right. So I decided to cut my drinking and start doing morning workouts like push-ups and etc. and a few home exercises before I take a shower for work in the morning. One day, after waking up early in the morning as usual, I did some push-ups next to my bed. Instead of the normal routine of going to the spare bedroom, while I was doing the push-up, I noticed something like a shiny plastic underneath the bed. The room was still dark, and the door was ajar, so the lights were shining through the hallway into the bedroom. When I completed my push-up, I reached out to grab what I thought was trash wrapped under the bed so I can throw it away. When I picked it up, it turned out to be a condom wrapper. That was when it became clear to me what was going on. My wife is bringing another man into my bedroom and having sex with him. I looked at my wife as she was still sleeping. I went to the hallway to get a better look at what was clearly the Trojan condom wrapper. I was angry because I understood what that means. I wanted to grab her and the man and confront them to ask how and why the plumber found hundreds of condoms in my drain, and now a condom wrapper was under my bed. I was angry, emasculated, and afraid of my future, afraid of what I will find out, afraid of the woman that I have loved for almost half of my life. I had no choice but to order a hidden camera and install it in my bedroom and living room. I installed the camera and connected it to my Wi-Fi so I can watch and record live feeds on my cell phone. I went to work the following day. When I parked my car at the work parking lot, I turned on the camera just to check because I had been thinking about it. And to my surprise, I saw my wife having sex with somebody on our bed. It didn't even take 40 minutes after I left the house for her to bring somebody into our house and for them to start having sex on our bed. I was watching it on my phone. The light in the room was still off, but I could make out the body motions and movements. And I knew who it was. It was my neighbor's 19-year-old son. I couldn't believe my eyes. I immediately put my car in reverse, hoping to catch them in the act. I drove back home. When I arrived on the streets, I parked my car on the street so I wouldn't make any sound parking in the driveway, and I opened the front door quietly. I slowly walked to bedroom and caught them both sleeping on our beds. There were 2 unused condoms on my nightstand and 1 used condom on my bed. That was why she was doing so much laundry and chores lately, to clean up the evidence of her affair. When I was at work, his shorts and pants were on the floor as well. I had anger issues in the past, and it all came back in full force. I was enraged, and I lost it. I immediately yanked him out of the bed and started punching him in the face. My wife kept screaming, trying to stop me, begging me. After I punched them all the way out of my front door, I turned to my wife and told her to pack her things and move out before I come back from work. Like I said earlier, I had anger issues in the past, and the way I dealt with it was obedience, because I would have strengthened her if I had stayed a few seconds in my house. I entered my car and drove off to nowhere. I just knew that I needed to put some distance between me and my wayward wife. My phone started blowing up, first my wife, then my coworkers. I didn't feel like talking to anyone. Then I parked my car somewhere and cried my eyes out. I called my boss and told him that I had a family emergency. Then I called Cody and told him what happened. He was angry with his son and apologized to me. Since I don't have any family close by, I called my wife's dad because I was close to her parents, and I told them what my wife had done. Throughout the day, my wife tried to reach me, but I didn't answer. I came back in the evening when I was calm. Cody was in my house when I came home. My wife was on the couch crying and shaking. Her parents came back earlier and took our kids. When I got home, I still had my work clothes on, looking disabled. Cody kept apologizing, telling me that he knew exactly how I feel. At that point, I don't blame Cody's son. I wasn't in a relationship with him. I blame my wife. I had been crying all day, so I didn't have the strength to talk. I changed my clothes, took a shower, and took some sleeping pills. Then I went to my children's room and fell asleep. I know myself well enough that I don't act logically when I'm in an emotional roller coaster. I woke up the following day with a clear mind. I had this overwhelming feeling of sadness and shame, like part of me had died. I didn't say a word to my wayward wife. She didn't get any sleep the night before. She still sat in the living room and knew me well enough not to speak to me. When I went to work that day, I searched for a divorce lawyer. I know a divorce would cost me almost half of my assets, and I will pay alimony because my soon-to-be ex-wife had been unemployed for more than 10 years, and infidelity doesn't have any impact on the divorce settlements in my state. I scheduled an appointment with a divorce lawyer 2 days later. My wife would be moving in with her parents till she sorted out her living arrangements because we agreed that it's best she moved out. As for Cody's son, he kicked him out of the house. At least that's what he told me, but I suspect that he may be staying with his mom. I am only 35 years old, and I'm making good income. A few months earlier, I thought my family was perfect. I had 3 beautiful children, a wife that I thought was loyal, 2 rental properties, and a primary residence, and I planned to build wealth and enjoy it with my kids and my beautiful wife. Now, after the divorce, The lives of my children will be disrupted. I have to divide my assets and end up like Cody. Her excuse for cheating is that she was feeling sorry for Cody's son, and they got close, and he was giving her compliments, and that was how it started. Come to find out, she had been having an affair with Cody's son for almost 7 months. We are still working out of the divorce settlement with our lawyers, and to add salt to injury, I am paying for her lawyers as well. I guess if my toilet wasn't clogged up, I probably wouldn't have found out that my wife had been cheating on me and denying me sex because she was sleeping with a 19-year-old neighbor's son. Thank you for joining us today on Deep Stories. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video.